Hello, everyone. This is MMA Interesting Prospects podcast. Today, our guest is Jake Woodley, who will fight on LFA 211 June 20th. Hello, Jake. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. And in just a little bit more than a week, you will fight against David Gladfelter. I think that overall quite interesting fighter. But if you can tell me, did you have any chance to watch his fights, and what do you think overall about him?
Yeah, I've watched a little bit of film. I think he's a tough opponent, but I think that I'm a better fighter and I'm gonna come out on top next weekend. But he's definitely a tough opponent. He's got some good wins, so it'll be a good test.
And he got five submissions on his record. And did you prepare that he can be a threat in some positions on the ground?
Yeah, he's got some submissions, so I gotta watch out for his jiu-jitsu game, but I think I'll be all right. I've worked with a lot of high level guys, so he's definitely tough in the submission game, but I think as long as I stick to my game plan, I should be all right.
And after this fight, how many more of fights would you like to have this year?
Maybe one or two more this year. We're already in the sixth month of the year, so not too much time to get very many more fights, but definitely another fight or two by the end of the year.
And in your last fight, it was in December, so a few months ago. It was quite. I think that you can be like not satisfied about the result because you fought against another good prospect, and on the paper it was like super interesting fight, but he caught you. And after this fight, how like disappointed were you that you didn't have a chance to fight for more of the time?
Yeah, I was pretty bummed after the loss for sure, but it was a good learning lesson, and I'm ready to move on and get a W next weekend.
And also, I saw something interesting in your record because in your second pro fight, you fought against fighter who got over 70 pro bouts. So it's kind of crazy. And before the fight, did you treat him as the guy who got over 50 losses and you definitely will win, or did you think about him more of the like veteran that of course he lost many fights, but he won also many fights and he can be kind of dangerous in some the positions, or he can get this kind of tricks of a veteran fighter.
Yeah, I definitely expected to win that fight, but at the same time, I respected him because, his record wasn't great, but he had 18 professional wins, so, that's still a good amount of wins against some guys, and I took him seriously and found a way to get the finish, but he came in there and fought tough. He threw an uppercut as I shot a double leg and gave me a little black eye. So it wasn't, even though it was a first round finish, it wasn't a super easy fight, but it was good to fight someone with that kind of experience early on.
But overall, I think that it was a very interesting booking.
Yeah, yeah.
And of course, you are a very good wrestler. You show it in your fights many times. But about wrestling, how old were you when you start wrestle and you thought that it will be uh, at some point your like direction to go wrestle on the high level?
I started wrestling when I was 6 years old. When I was a kid, I was pretty good when I was a kid, and I went to a high school that had a pretty good tradition of wrestling. So I knew that as long as I had a pretty good high school career, I could do it in college. And I had a good high school career, did it in college, and I had a good college career, and just chose. I kind of wanted to fight since I was a kid, but I made the choice after having a good college career. It made sense to start fighting MMA, and a few years later, here I am.
I think that this is great that something like MMA existed, existing right now, because when you have this kind of years of experience in other combat sport, if not MMA, it would be probably hard to use it in like some other fashion. And because there is something like MMA, you can use it in MMA fight, and definitely it's the best background that the fighter can have.
Yeah, I'm definitely grateful for the sport of MMA. If it weren't for MMA, I would maybe be trying to make world and Olympic teams for Team USA, or I would just have a normal job with my degree. So I'm pretty grateful to have an opportunity to fight MMA and hopefully one day be on the biggest stage.
When you start your MMA training, how tough was like a striking part of the game? Because of course on the ground you were a very like experienced guy to that you can take people on the ground. But about like punches, about kicks, how the start was? Was it like a tough one?
Yeah, it was tough for sure. The whole striking thing was really tough at first, but I'm 3 years in, so I've learned a lot over the past few years. I've gotten a lot more comfortable and a lot more better at striking. So I'm pretty comfortable now, but it was definitely a tough transition when I first started.
But also probably when you are like master in something like you are in wrestling, it can help you in other things because you from point zero to like point 100 you master one thing. So probably you can have this kind of like route how to become great at something.
For sure. I apply wrestling even to my striking, like a change of speeds that happens in striking that happens in wrestling too. So, that's just one example of how even though wrestling is a lot different than striking, becoming a master at some combat sport definitely applies to other combat sports that maybe aren't very similar. Like striking and wrestling, they're not super similar, but I can still apply a lot of the knowledge that I learned in wrestling over time to apply to striking.
And when you start your like MMA training, what was the first MMA gym that you went to?
Um, I started training in California. I was going to a classic fight team. It was a Muay Thai gym, and then I was going to a body shop with Antonio and AJ McKee. And then I was also training at Orange County Regional Training Center. It's this gym in Huntington Beach. I was also coaching kids wrestling there. And I was just kind of bouncing around gyms in California for a while, but I recently moved to Albuquerque, New Mexico. I'm training at Jackson and Wink now. Um, it was just it was a good change for me. California was really expensive, and I was driving around trying to find the best training, and it's just a lot more of a simpler life out here in Albuquerque. I live at the gym and just train all day and cook food, and it's kind of a one-stop shop. I got a lot of training partners and coaches, so I made a change recently, and I think it's for the better. But nothing against the gyms I was training at in California. They were great gyms too. It was just California is kind of expensive, and I was just training at a lot of different places. It was a lot to juggle.
So right now, probably you have some of the best sparring partners that you can have, and of course coaches, because the coaches like the are the for many years are considered to be one of the best in the world.
Yeah, for sure. I'm very grateful for uh the gym, Jackson and Wink, but I'm also grateful for my past. I learned a lot at those other gyms in California the past few years, and they gave me a really good foundation of MMA before I came here.
And when you like train and spar right now, do you do it with the fighters like you, like middleweights, maybe light heavyweights, or do you also spar with the like smaller fighter like featherweights, maybe lightweights?
I don't really spar very much with featherweights or lightweights, but I'll go with welterweights, middleweights, light heavyweights, and then maybe even a couple heavyweights every once in a while. And that's what's great about the gym. They got multiple guys at every weight class, so all in one gym. So it's the training partners are pretty beneficial.
And when right now you are thinking about your career because overall you are 4-1, I think that you are like a super talented guy. But when you are thinking about your future, do you see yourself in the UFC in like maybe 2, maybe 3 years?
Yeah, I definitely see myself in the UFC soon. I hope maybe faster than 3 years, but maybe in like the next year or two. Hopefully, I'd like to be in the UFC or at least contender series fight here in like a year or two. Couple, a few more fights, and hopefully I'm ready for contender series or a short notice opportunity or something, and hopefully I'm in the big show soon.
And about your weight, how quickly can you make middleweight limit?
Um, like if I was eating what I wanted and didn't know that I had a fight coming up and got a short notice opportunity, I mean, I could probably make weight in like a week or two. I walk around at like 210 to 215. So, but when I'm like training hard and eating good, I'm like 205, maybe even less. So 185 isn't too crazy for me to make. So I could definitely accept a short notice opportunity in like a week or two, depending on what my weight's at.
So I think that it's very good because when the fighter can make weight quite quickly, and I think that 1 or 2 weeks are really quickly, you have this kind of advantage that you can take some of the like even craziest crazy fights because sometimes the ranked fighter is fighting and is losing his opponent and it's like like opportunity for you to take.
Exactly. Yeah.
And about watching MMA, do you like watch wrestlers in MMA, or you also like maybe of this like the strikers type like Adesanya, maybe Pereira?
Yeah, I like to watch all of MMA. I feel like I can learn from a striker and a wrestler. Sometimes I feel like I learn a lot from a non-wrestler that finds a way to wrestle in MMA because if they don't have the like years of experience I do and they find a way to take someone down and dominate them on the ground, then I can definitely learn from them, look at what they're doing and take a couple things of it and then apply my knowledge to it. So I watch I watch everyone, strikers, wrestlers, non-wrestlers, and try to pick up what I can.
And did you have a chance to watch Merab Dvalishvili against Sean O'Malley?
Yeah, yeah, I saw it. Yeah.
And what do you think about the fight and the result of the fight?
I thought it was a really good fight. I actually think Sean O'Malley was doing pretty good with his takedown defense. He defended a good amount of takedowns, but Marab is just relentless and just stayed on it and found a way to take him down even after failing a couple times and found a way to get that finish. Marab is someone that I definitely learned from. I like the way he fights. I like his pace and his relentlessness.
And it's probably also like good evidence that you don't have to be like 10 takedowns on 10 attempts. You can only have two. But when you are going forward all the time, when you push the pace, the like opponent will be hurt by the cardio and also by the speed of your like actions.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, he Marab does such a good job of having that pressure and staying on his opponents and eventually taking them down, even if it takes a few tries.
And for now, do you have maybe one fight that you really looking forward to watch?
Um, Not really. I'm not sure what cards are coming up because I'm fighting next weekend, so I've been pretty focused on that. But I watch most of the UFC cards, and there's always some good fights and stuff to learn. So I'm sure I'll be tuning into the next one too.
And after your fight, like maybe 1 hour or 2 hours after the fight, do you like to go straight to the hotel and just rest, or you prefer to go maybe to the city, eat something?
Definitely want to get a good meal in after the fight, and I'm fighting 2.5 hours from home, so I'll have some friends come up and watch the fight. So we'll definitely go get something to eat and hang out with family afterwards.
And for this fight, what would be like perfect result, a perfect finish for you?
Perfect finish for me would be a knockout from the feet. I've been working a lot on my striking, and a lot of people are worried about my wrestling, so I'd love to go out there and surprise some people and showcase my striking skills and get a knockout.
Definitely, everybody will be surprised because the like some people can consider you more of the wrestler type, but when you hit the opponent, it can be like a tough day in the office for them.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, Jake. So many thanks for the time and for conversation. I hope that you will win this fight and you will take maybe one, maybe two more this year to build your record, and maybe next year the UFC opportunity will appear.
Thank you. I appreciate your time too.